don't even know.
Are you under the age of 17?
Definitely, and I don't even know this. I doubt anyone here without proper research.
That's what we're discussing, right?
Yeah, I know, but I doubt anyone here without proper research actually knows.
Wait, knows what?
Never mind.
Okay, well, the point of this is not to argue over the science of this and whether or not the experiment was legitimate. We're mostly just talking about, assuming that this is true, what are its implications on the debate about free will? Like, for example, let me give another example. Let's say that my dad is a doctor. That's not true, but let's say that. And then I grow up and I think, okay, I want to be a doctor. So I grow up and I become a doctor. And then I tell everyone, I freely chose to be a doctor. But is that true? But maybe it seems like I freely chose, but in reality, I didn't.
Your dad chose.
Well, my dad didn't choose, but I was uninfluenced. So which one is it?
I don't think the free will exists. It depends on our brain,
Okay. Wait, do you want to explain why?
Wait, isn't the whole brain mechanic thing just reactions to what happens around you?
Yeah, so if so, where does free will come from?
I already know this.
Please allow me to take example.
Go ahead.
For example, you have a choice from your parent. You get your spending money, $100 or $1. Which one do you choose? Everyone could choose $100. Why? Because it's much bigger.
It's more money.
Yeah, because it's more money. But you can also choose $1 because you are free will. But no one chooses that.
That's not true. People do. In the past, they have.
And how do you know that people don't?
Wait, hold on. Let him finish.
I just mentioned this example, and I want you guys to discuss because I don't know why people always choose the $100.
Can I say why it's not such a great example?
Go ahead. Yeah, Aiden.
Go ahead.
First of all, there's two things. Either you think that it's okay if you take $100, right? Or you think that you should only take $1. Now, it will depend. There's two situations. Your family's wealthy or your family's not. That's kind of a duh. Right? So if your family's wealthy, you have the choice. Do you want to spend so much money? Just like that might actually be free will. But of course, taking $100, it's not free will. It's temptation. And is that really not free will?
I mean,
you still have the
why don't you think temptation is free will?
Huh?
Or why do you think?
Well, I still think temptation is free will because a lot of people have not taken temptation.
Yeah, but there are also situations where you would just take the $1. What if there was like nothing to buy, or what if your family really needed to buy something?
Yeah, that was the other example. What happens if you can't actually afford the $100?
Really needed that money to buy something, but still they offered it to you. Like, would you rather take it, the $100 or the $1? Like,
okay, well,
in that case, I would take the $1.
Addressing your first point, Aiden, about temptation. What if it's just that every time you avoid temptation, it's simply that the temptation wasn't strong enough? Like, what if every time the temptation is strong enough, it overpowers your
freedom,
and you have no freedom?
Yeah, you guys all have a good point, but we talk about normal.
Probably true, actually.
Yeah, because I talk about a normal situation. Normal situation.
Define normal.
I don't know what is normal actually. Actually, I don't know what is normal.
Okay, well, the point of this discussion was to
words
show
like
that
normal are just it's pretty much just generalizing people in general, but people are normal.
So everyone who's poor and everyone who is super rich is abnormal, right?
No, because there's probably more people who are poor than people who are super rich. Or median.
Yeah.
But the reason
that's
people
also
see
irrelevant
median,
to our discussion. Let's stay on track.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, so the point of bringing up this discussion is this experiment is one of many experiments in the field of psychology and neuroscience that are going to show that it's really easy to manipulate animals. And in fact, there's also experiments out there that have shown that it's possible to manipulate humans to do the same thing. So that's why this is
sci-fi movies, IRL. Confirmed.
Kind of, I guess. But this is just one of them that I thought was interesting, which is why I picked this one. Our third one is, in my opinion, the most interesting premise. Oops. And I actually have to speaker notes because it was too long to fit in the slide. So there's a study in Minnesota, study of twins reared apart. And the study studied twins that were raised in significantly different environments. The researchers in the study found that the identical twins reared apart resembled each other very closely. So we're going to take a look at 3 examples. First example was the Giggle sisters. They're 2 twins, they were raised apart. They almost always laughed at the same time. Both constantly pushed their noses, which they both called squidging. Both have weak ankles as a result of falling when they were 15. Both met their husbands as dancers when they were 16, and both worked as polling clerks. Isn't that straight? Like,
that's
they were
scary.
In the same place. They didn't know each other. They were separated at birth. There's Jim and Jim,
not even
brothers
cool.
named
That's
Jim.
just scary.
It is scary, but it's also very relevant to our discussion. So
But
Jim,
I mean, there's been
they drove the same model car and smoked the same cigarettes. Both had elaborate workshops at home where they made mini furniture as a hobby. Both liked to leave little love notes for their wives lying around the house. And both named their sons James Allen and James Allen. So one difference of 1 L.
Wait, did they talk to each other about that?
No, they didn't. Otherwise, the study would be pointless.
Whoa, that's creepy.
It is kind of.
Yeah, I know.
And I saw in chat someone says, is it a coincidence? I'll address that later. Most remarkable, perhaps, were Jack Youth and Oskar Stoher, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I think it's that, whose home environments had been exceedingly different. One twin was raised in Trinidad by his Jewish father, the other in Germany by his Nazi grandmother. Oskar was in the Hitler Youth. Jack served in the Israeli Navy. When reunited, both were wearing rectangular wireframe glasses and blue 2-pocket shirts with epaulets. I don't even know what that is. Both had small mustaches. Both liked to read magazines from back to front, and both flushed toilets before using them. Also, both men liked the same practical joke of startling people by sneezing in elevators. So, it's quite ridiculous that you have 2 twins raised in such different environments.
That is scary.
Do so much of the same thing.
But it makes sense.
I mean, wait. So first of all, to address someone's point that it's a coincidence, I don't think that there's enough
coincidences don't exist. No such thing as coincidence.
What?
How do you know that no such thing as coincidences exist?
Because coincidences don't exist.
We have proof that they don't exist.
Prove that they do.
Okay, wait. That's also not part of our discussion.
Fun.
Wait, how do we know you don't exist?
I don't.
Let's not talk about that.
Let's not talk about that. Let's move on.
Is there proof?
So stupid.
So there's not actually enough data from the Minnesota study to show if it was a coincidence or not. But the point of bringing this example up is to show that, I mean, this isn't some electrical stimulation. This isn't some person pointing a gun to their head and forcing them to do the same thing. This is simply a case of someone having the same genes as someone else. And they do so much of the same things. So what if, going back to the previous example of being a doctor, what if someone wanted to be a doctor because it was just like in their genes? Or maybe what if someone liked chocolate ice cream because it was in their genes? And they think that they like it because of their own free will, when in reality, they had no choice. They were programmed to like it.
That makes sense.
Oh, that's weird.
That makes a lot of sense. It's the same with allergies, except not really.
You can change. Are we all made out of coding where it says, like, oh, when you turn 15, you will start liking this. Oh, when you like blah, 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 you will
That's actually, yeah, it's not, you're not wrong. When we do turn a certain age, we do start liking certain different things.
So who programmed you? I'd like to know.
Well, it's not programmed, it's genetics, right?
It's funny you assume.
So yeah, this is just another example in which we can see that perhaps there's more of an argument against free will than we originally thought. Given these two things, does it still seem so ridiculous that going back to the Daryl example, does it still seem so ridiculous that some people might actually have been raised in a place that, like, they were so likely to commit a murder that maybe they didn't have another choice? Just maybe. Obviously, there's still arguments on the other side of this, but that's just to raise the question.
You're saying there might have been someone who was threatening them, if you don't murder this person, I'll murder you?
No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is they might have been raised in a family that normalized violence, for example, and then they wouldn't have known better. Or maybe they were raised in a culture that, like, what if you were raised in a culture that says that cannibalism is cannibalism is good.
Cannibalism fun.
What if you're raised in that kind of society? Like, how would you learn that cannibalism is bad? And would it be your fault?
Well,
if you...
cannibalism fun. What? What did I say? Said nothing.
Okay.
Just the way people work.
Yeah, so
things that surround them affect their everyday like choices.
Exactly.
It's kind of established.
Well, it's not so established because society has still operated under the guise of under the assumption of free will for like thousands of years.
But,
so there's definitely in the other side of the debate.
Okay, but like in school we have to learn like what do we call this? What is it called? Peer pressure? Isn't that the same thing?
Kind of.
Because you like say if all your friends are drinking crack cocaine or sniffing it, and you might want to do it just because everyone else is doing it.
That is an interesting topic that you tried to elaborate on.
Okay, well, that's an interesting example, but
it was a joke. Yes, you drink crack cocaine.
Okay, well, what if that's true? What if we assume that there's no free will and you only drink that drug, or you only took that drug because your friends did it? But the school is still going to punish you. If you did that in any school, they're going to punish you. So why?
Yeah, they're still going to punish you because you're stupid.
But what if it was really out of your control? Then is it really you being stupid, or is that?
Yes, it's still you being stupid. You're hanging out with the wrong people.
What if you just came to the school and?
Well, then you need better friends. You know, you do the wrong things. But if it's your parents, then that's too bad. You were destined to sniff crack cocaine.
Oh,
okay, well.
no.
Okay, well, that's a bit off topic, but there's definitely arguments on both sides. I see some people said they have to leave. Feel free. I'm going to try to finish this fourth example. The fourth example is quantum mechanics, actually. And this is the first example and only example, the first example that we have of modern science that actually points against free will.
Oh, really? I want to listen.
The laws that govern the behavior of matter are probabilistic. The laws don't say, given X, Y must follow. Instead, they say, given X, there is a specific probability that Y will follow.
Yes.
For example, suppose that a radioactive substance is decaying. The laws of nature may tell us that a certain percentage of atoms are likely to decay in the next month. However, the laws will not tell us exactly which atoms will decay. That's left undetermined.
Isn't that just Half-Life?
Okay, I'm going to mute everyone because I think there's some background sound. Feel free to unmute when you want to talk. We're not going to have an extensive discussion on this, except for only one question. And the question is, does quantum mechanics really support free will? Who thinks that quantum mechanics does support free will? Like the fact that given A, not necessarily B. Okay,
yes,
you think so.
It does.
Why do you think so?
Because it does.
Well, okay, fair enough.
Explains a lot.
The problem
I know, right?
Okay, but let me ask you this then. Let's say that someone walked on the street and then they started doing random actions. They lifted a hand in the air and then they lifted a foot in the air and they sang a part of a song and then they jumped 3 times. Like that's all random. That's what quantum
not really
random. Or let's just say they did a series of random actions. Is that free will or is that just randomness? Like is something being random, is that free will? Or is free will?
No, it's not. It's just determined before you exist. All your actions are determined before you exist.
Wait, no, I think it is free will.
Does help free will.
You wanted to dance, therefore you danced.
You decided to do the random
You wanted to dab, therefore you dabbed. You wanted your bones to be broken, therefore.
But how do you prove that you wanted to do it and not you were forced to be wanting to do it by some outside external force or that by some force that was predetermined?
All I'm getting from this class is a bunch of laughter.
This is scary if we're being controlled.
Oh my goodness. Why do you have a voice that sounds like a robot?
I think it's their mic. Well, the point of this example is to show that there's actually there's an interesting phenomenon in science where the social sciences like psychology or sociology are actually moving towards free will. A lot of the research against free will. A lot of research is showing that humans are actually a lot more predictable than we originally thought. On the other hand, the physical sciences are actually moving away from free will. They're moving away from the deterministic version of the universe in which A cause B, cause C, cause D, cause E, into, like, for example, quantum mechanics, which shows that it's not really A cause B, cause C. It's more about probability and randomness. There's more randomness in the...
I feel like we're talking about Flash. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my physics and math is awful.
This must happen because it must. Don't
about
question
Flash?
it.
About what?
It's because in Flash, it's pretty much everything's gonna happen the way it is unless you go back in time and change it, and that's pretty much like one of the big topics in Flash.
Wait, what's Flash?
What is
it?
Nothing. It's a TV show.
Oh, well, I haven't
about
seen
a
that.
superhero.
Okay.
And pretty much, one of the main
mine is
characters.
Barry Allen.
One of the main characters is always saying, like, all our actions are already decided, but the only way to change is to go back in time and change it.
Yeah, I know that. My name is Barry Allen. I'm the fattest man in the world, right?
Okay, well, that's interesting.
That thing.
So the last thing that we're going to talk about real quick is the implications.
Ooh.
What if we rejected free will? What would happen?
You die.
There's a lot of things that would happen. For example, first of all, how would prisons make sense? If someone was predetermined to do something bad,
then they're predetermined to go to prison. It's their fault.
Well,
it's their problem that their destiny is crap.
But how is that their fault? Like, they didn't have a choice in it.
Facts.
Like, what if like you roll the dice and you got a 1, and then is it your fault that you got a 1 and you get sent to prison? Like,
I mean, it's not exactly your fault.
Involving bad luck. Actually, no,
it's not exactly your fault. It's your problem, though.
But would it be ethical to do that? Why is it your problem?
Because you're the one who did it.
I mean,
what did you do? You didn't really do anything.
You still did something.
You were born.
Asking for it.
Yeah, you were born.
Well, but you
deserve.
Something that you do, though. That's
really vague, Aiden.
My point is, the whole concept of criminal justice would definitely be turned on its head, just like in the Clarence Darrow case, if we were to find that free will really doesn't exist. What about the concept of robots? What differentiates humans from robots if there's no free will? What about responsibility? Is it possible to have for someone to have responsibility if they have no free will? And what about our concept of ethics? That would be completely changed. My point is, there's a lot of implications about free will debate in the real world. And if philosophers were able to ever find an answer to this, that would change humanity probably forever. And that would change the way that we do things probably forever. If there even is a way that we do things that we can control. So that's about it for today's meeting. Real quick homework. I'll send the homework in the WeChat group and also via email. Also, some people told me that WeChat was inconvenient for them, so we're going to be moving towards email, or maybe using both email and WeChat. And that's about it for the meeting today. Thanks for coming, everyone. Hopefully this discussion about free will was very interesting. If it wasn't, we're going to be moving away from that and into something other topic next meeting. So hope to see y'all there. I'll stay on for 5 more minutes for anyone with any questions.
Where do I find the homework? I never got it.
I always send the homework in the WeChat group right after the meeting. I haven't sent the homework this week yet because this is the first meeting.
Oh yeah, my mom's in the WeChat group, but then.
Oh, okay. Yeah, only like 2 or 3 people have been doing the homeworks so maybe the problem is that I'm sending them only in WeChat. In the future, I'll send them an email as well.
Mm-hmm.
Someone mentioned the lottery. That's definitely an interesting work. Unlucky or free will. Yeah, it's unlucky. And I'm sure that one of the points of Shirley Jackson was, like, I'm sure that most people reading the lottery would feel that was really unjustified. But what about being predetermined to grow up and steal something and then going to jail? Is that unjustified? kind of similar, right? Which is why this discussion is so interesting, I think. It's 10:25 already. No, it's not. It's only 8:07 for me. Wait, it's 25? It can't be 25 though. Yeah, exactly. It should be 10:07, right? Maybe your clock is wrong. Okay, well, anyone have any questions or last thoughts on this discussion? If not, I'm gonna end the meeting. You wanna stay? Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And I'm trying to think about what we wanna do next week. Would we wanna do another question in metaphysics or related to metaphysics, not pure metaphysics like this? Or would we wanna go back to ethics? I'm not so sure if we wanna do political philosophy because that's really, really hard to prepare a lesson on. And also, that's not exactly like my specialty.
I think I like ethics, or I want to try politics though.
Well, I'll see how.
What about logic? Logic's awesome.
Donkey or team elephant?
Logic, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what kind of logic do you mean? I haven't really done that much research into like the logic aspect of philosophy.
Do boop.
Okay, but I'll think about that. Thanks for the suggestion. Okay, if no one else has any comments, now I'm gonna end the meeting. Let's just please make the last class longer. Okay, I'm not gonna do the video next class. I think the video was a bad idea. It would have been an okay idea if we could have watched it together, but it was not a good idea because we couldn't watch it together. So instead of doing a video, I'll just try to explain next topic by myself so that we can save some time. Hopefully that helps. Anyway, bye everyone. Thanks for coming. I really enjoyed. Ending now.